Good morning. Um, been a hot minute since I've made any content. Kind of got busy with the holidays and whatnot, but anyways, I won't bore you with the details. I did want to address one quick thing before I get any further in the video. To any of my regular subscribers, regular viewers, I don't know if any of you actually exist, like people who have watched consecutive multiple videos from my channel. But I feel the need to explain the decor in the room where I'm filming. This is actually my wife's room. It's technically the same room that I've been filming in the entire time that I've been making YouTube videos, at least on the topics of firearms and whatnot, within the last 8 years, so let's say. However, we kind of got to a point where we realized that it wasn't really good as a guest room because we didn't really have guests, and it wasn't really good as a game room because we didn't have guests. And so it was kind of just this, like, catch-all room where we were just kind of, like, throwing our junk and our cardboard and, had a few card tables up in here where we were, like, working on, like, hobby stuff. But ultimately we landed on, having this be her room, like, for her purposes, for her intents, for her crafts, for her expressions, whatever. So that's, if anyone's wondering why there's such like a stark contrast between the content of my video and the decor in the back. Yeah, it's my wife's room. And if that's a problem, whatever. Like, click off the video. Like, I'm here to talk about, like, guns and stuff, so it don't bother me. But getting into the meat of the matter, I hear a lot of the criticism in the comments and whatnot that it seems like all my content is just talking about the guns and upgrading the guns and whatnot, and I don't actually shoot them, and that's pretty much true. I have not been shooting in almost 3 years now, and that's effectively a result of Washington's pretty awful new gun laws. It kind of started with just not really having anyone to go with and not wanting to go by myself, because, like, if I want to go someplace where I can, like, really get some good footage and whatnot, I have to go quite a ways out. And that's, like, something I basically have to plan, like, a whole trip or a whole weekend around effectively. And I don't have any property, and I don't have any, like, friends with property or anything like that. Like, actually, like, all the footage you have seen of me shooting is more than likely taken from one trip where I was with a friend on his family property. We're not as close as we were back then, and that was also, again, in Washington State. So yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it is private property, so, like, the odds of federal government complaints and whatnot, you know, pretty slim, but not risking any of that stuff. So yeah, even living in Idaho, I'm on the border of Washington. A lot of the places I was going to previously were Washington based, and there's just not a lot. There's not a lot to explore over here, or at least not that I'm aware of. And my pool of influence, or my pool of contacts or whatever, are not the type of individuals to have any kind of knowledge of those spaces. So it's very much like if I want to find a piece of land where I can actually get some footage and do some shooting, I'm effectively going to have to kind of infiltrate a group I don't really belong to. That sounds cartoonish, but I mean that's kind of the reality of it. It's like I am not into firearms for the same reasons that most people are into firearms, and especially not within my local demographic. So I either gotta keep my mouth shut about some things, or I gotta fudge some other things. So I don't know. It's not terribly difficult to get on the page of like anti-government when it comes to anyone who's pro-gun, but the flavors are very different when you actually get to the root of the matters. But I am now 6 minutes into the video, and I haven't even begun to talk about the fact that this is actually a video where I'm going to go over the upgrades that I have made to my built rifle. So one of my more recent videos, which is still not terribly recent, I covered my AR15 that I built out. Not starkly different, but considerably different part to part from the M&P 15 that I initially bought in 2020 as my first foray into the world of AR-15s. And technically this is only my second, but building an AR-15 definitely opens a whole new perspective on the platform, and you get a little bit more intimate with the inner workings of it. Do a little bit more time on Reddit, do a little bit more watching School of the American Rifle videos on YouTube and shit. So yeah, at a certain point you go from, yeah, I bought a stock AR-15 from Sportsman Warehouse or whatever, to, yeah, I have a quarter in my buffer tube, what about it? So, anywho, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn on a light just so that we can get, like, a little bit better detail, because I waited for natural lighting. I actually haven't slept yet. But I waited for natural lighting for this video, so it would look better. But I'm still concerned it's not going to look... You're not going to see as much. So I'm gonna turn on a little light here, so this might be a little bit crazy looking. But I'm hoping it'll cast some details. So, talking about the comment section before, I never actually got to the point. A lot of you have also been griping about how a lot of my builds are ridiculous, or they're impractical, or like take that shit off of there or whatever. This hobby is not like a doctrine where it's like this way or that way, black or white. Like, it's extremely customizable and it's extremely personal. I don't tell you like how to pray, so don't tell me how to build out my rifle, because you don't know what I want out of my build. You don't know what I want out of my system. So just want to say that, preface with that, because this is probably going to look a little bit crazy, but yeah. We've added some things. So I don't remember exactly how much of this was covered in my previous video, but yeah, we're just gonna go over tip to butt, I think is how it's supposed to be. So yeah, so at the top end here we've got I've went ahead and put my bipod on it. This thing is getting to be pretty ridiculously heavy. So having a bipod on there means that I can kind of put it down on a barricade or something like that, and obviously then I can stabilize the weapon a little bit more if I'm in a position to do so. Otherwise, obviously, I'm just gonna have to rely on the sling, rely on the forward grips, and rely on the good old-fashioned C-clamp and whatnot. I'm not actually sure how to do C-clamp, so I'm just going to be completely honest about that. I'll figure it out someday, I'm sure. So yeah, again, like last time, I'm going to be just going over every little bit of it. So we've got this KK Industries muzzle device here. I don't think it's necessarily like a flash hider or a compensator or anything like that. It just kind of looks cool. Like I'm sure it has properties of one or the other or whatever, but I couldn't tell you like what. And then up here, I've got Mbus Pro Magpul front irons, offset front irons, and we'll get into that when we get to the back one, but I just wanted to show that it's there. Then on the other side here, of course, we've got the light, and this is actually really nice because the activator here is like at an angle that like really fits the curvature of the way I would hold the rifle anyways. So it kind of just sits right on my thumb, like if I was holding my rifle that way, or like it's not a difficult transition. It's pretty natural. But I'm gonna take this off screen and then start it and see if, yeah. So we've got it on a strobe effect for the reasons that you use a strobe effect. Then yeah, moving on, we've got the other parts of the hand stop kit that I used for my 12 gauge Maverick 88. So on the 12 gauge, which I'm sure most of you have seen, it's got the fang parts of the hand stop, or the hand stop. So these are more of like the tooth parts as opposed to the fangs. And yeah, so we got both of these. And once again, they fit. It's tight if I do 4 fingers. I probably would never do that, but there's a nice fit when it's 3 in the main channel and 1 up front. And then again, like I've just got a nice solid grip on that, and then I can pivot to the light if I need to. And then going the whole way up, all 3 sides of the handguard, I've got these M-LOK Type 2 rail covers. I also have the M-LOK Type 2 half rail covers for the spots where I can't fit a full one. These are super cool, and also just kind of gimmicky, because like we also knew like most of the market was already making them themselves, but nice to be able to just buy them and have them be professional grade cut whenever. Obviously then we've got the M-LOK Magpul vertical foregrip here, and then can't really get fully around it because one of the teeth is right here, but honestly this feels more comfortable and natural to me anyways. It almost kind of puts your hand at like a canted angle, which feels a little bit more natural. I also have a plug on this, just because I don't like how it's empty. I don't know if that's just like a weird tick thing, but like I like the cores to have or the grips to have a bottom on them, and especially like, you know, I could store some stuff in there, I suppose. There might even be something in there. I can't remember if I put anything in there or not. And then on the top of the rail, we have the Magpul rail ladders, just to cover up the unused rail. And I used to think that this type of product was actually really stupid, because I felt like it hindered one's ability to quickly remove optics or attachments or whatever. But realistically speaking, like in an like combat situation or like an intense situation where you would need to quickly remove anything from the top rail, yeah, you're not quickly removing it from the top rail anyways, so it's kind of redundant. Like most of this stuff, especially like an optic, for example, is going to be very much locked in so that it holds zero. It's probably not the case with mine. We'll get to that. I'm sure some of you are already laughing about this, but if you know, you know. But moving over to the other side here, as you might have seen on this side, there is integral QD mounts on the handguard, and they work fine. Like there's nothing wrong with them. However, when trying to use my Sentry strap, these are a little bit too close. And so with my MS4 QDM sling, I can't, like, I don't know, like make it like fit right with that particular setup. This probably still is less than ideal as far as like a sling stage goes. I probably should still have like a rubber band or something somewhere, but you know, part of the hobby is figuring things out and trying them and learning what works and what doesn't work. And yeah, typically most people do that by going to the range, but I have to do it by embarrassing myself with YouTube videos. So anywho, so there's that. And then the reason I was mentioning that is because up here I have an M-Lock QD mount from Magpul. Y'all know me, Magpul whore. There's so much fucking Magpul product on this one build. It's actually ludicrous, and it's only more since the last video. And then yeah, the sling I mentioned, the MS4 QDM sling from Magpul as well. I've got a Sentry strap here to help with staging the sling so that it can be neatly tucked away. Well, I don't know how neatly, but usually pretty neatly tucked away, without inhibiting use of the firearm, and with also allowing me to quickly deploy the sling in a case where I might need to do so. Yeah, so anywho, that is most of the barrel length. Quickly touching on the barrel itself, it is an H-bar. I think it's chromadium, I don't know, some goofy shit. The H-bar part is felt. It is most certainly a heavy barrel, and this whole platform is very, very heavy. At least for an AR. Like, it might not be like approaching quite like machine gun like level, but like I'm pretty sure this thing is heavier than my AK. And that's surprising considering I have a milled AK. But anywho, moving on. So I'm gonna deploy the sling and remove it so that it's not in the way for the rest of the video. Because it's kind of just taking up a lot of visual space. So yeah, now moving on. We've got the upper and lower over here and all the bells and whistles that go with those. I think I covered pretty much all of those in the last video, but I'll go ahead and get some of this again. Try to freaking find a way to carry this comfortably or hold it. So yeah, so we've got this cheap Chinese fake hog. That's the part that everybody's probably gonna laugh at. As much as I've talked about how important optics are, I still don't have like a good one. This is probably not something that holds zero, and for my purposes doesn't really have to because I don't go fucking shooting. So hold your damn comments because I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, so then we've got the bad lever here. Man, I am just like all over this thing right now. Yeah, bad lever. God. Magpul ESK. This is the safety selector that I was mentioning in the last video. It's fine. Like there's nothing special about it. Come on, where's my hand? It is ambi. It does feel nice and tactile. It's not mushy or anything. If anything, it's kind of stiff, especially operating it from the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, I have a short throw. And on the left-hand side, I have a regular size throw. I might switch those, I'm not sure. But yeah, nice and tactile. Obviously, like I mentioned in the last video, I have painted the fire and don't fire, or safe and fire selectors. We've got same KS Plus or KS2 Plus or whichever one it is. Grip core the grip core is also in there, and it is, I believe it's a lubricant bottle. Come on, you. It's a lubricant bottle, don't worry about it. Yeah, so anywho, moving on. Got the Radiant Raptor up here. Pull that out, and we've got the enhanced ejection port cover from Magpul with my Microbest Chrome BCG. Moving back to the irons again, we have the flip up offset irons so that if and when, for the most part, the ACOG fails, there is some kind of backup aiming assist. I've never really used irons, so I don't really trust myself to like know how, other than just point and aim, like, I don't know, like a natural point of aim would, but I feel like there's a lot more to it that you kind of just have to get behind it in order to like figure out. So definitely admitting, like, I'm probably not doing so great there. So yeah, on the trigger, it's a Geisley 2-stage trigger, SSE. Yeah, super safe stage 2. Yep. And then we've got the HRF Concepts Magwell flare device here. It's just 2 pieces of 3D printed plastic that just screw together with a little screw on one side. There are like 2 different kinds depending on, or at least 2 different kinds depending on the lower that your rifle has. Because mine was an arrow, it took a specific kind. So yeah, glad I got it when I did, because it's almost always out of stock. Magazine, which I do have a dummy round in, so just so we're not super freaking out, but it is loaded. It just has a dummy round in it. Got a base plate extension on here. Unbranded, got it off eBay. Cheap Chinesium, but hey, 5 rounds is 5 rounds, or additional 4 rounds. It's either, it might be 6 actually. It might be additional 6. I don't know. I'll look into it if anyone has questions in the comments. This is a 40, so. I had a Reddit post a while back where a bunch of people were getting after me about base plate extensions being really, really stupid, and that's like just for like match shooters or competition shooters or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but like, wouldn't you just rather have more ammo? And they're like, okay, well, if you want more ammo, just get a 40 round mag. I'm like, right, so I mean an extension on the 40 round mag, bruh. Like, this might be in the way a little bit, you know? But here's my philosophy on this one. This is like your entry, right? Like, this is your starter. You don't carry, right, like 8 of these. Okay, you don't do that. But keep this one as the one that is on board. This is your daily driver, right? And then if you got to reload, that's when you reload back to your 30s, because those fit most equipment and most gear a lot better than a 40, and especially a 40 with a base plate. But there's no reason why the starter, the one that starts in the platform, the one that is already riding in the seat, needs to be like super short. You're not dropping to prone. Like, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I know I don't shoot a lot, but I promise you're not dropping to prone. In absolutely no combat situation, urban, recce, otherwise, you're not dropping to prone. Not with your rifle, anyways. If you're dropping to prone, you've given up. You're hiding and crawling around in the dirt trying to fucking get away. So you're not dropping to prone. Don't tease yourself, and tell yourself, well, what if I need to? You're not dropping to prone. I promise you're not dropping to prone. The only reason you might be dropping to prone is if you were, you know, trying to do some like real hot marksmanship shit, and you're not dropping to prone. Okay, just so we're clear, you would be, that would be a premeditated choice to do so. So you're gonna have time to switch out your gear to your 10 round mag so that it doesn't interfere with your prone, or your 20 round mag so it doesn't interfere with your prone. Do not dropping to prone. Get over it. Or at least I'm not, I guess I should say. Because again, like I said at the start of the video, it's you don't know. You don't know me, you don't know what I'm about, you don't know what I'm doing. So one of the cooler couple upgrades, or several upgrades, series of upgrades I made to this because you might be thinking, like, I haven't really done a whole lot to it. Well, the castle nut, the buffer tube, the recoil spring, and the buffer weight are all now Magpul. So I know you can't really see any of that stuff, but previously I had a KK castle nut, and so that shit was fine. It'll work, but yeah. And then yeah, we got the typical CTR stock with the tension lock and everything like that. Yeah, lots of fun, good stuff. So I think that's pretty much it. Can't really think of anything else I've done to it since then, but yeah, it's I think it looks really cool. Like, if nothing else, I think it looks really cool. It is certainly heavy. It is certainly specifically for my needs. This is my everything gun. This is my don't know what to expect, gotta check all the boxes type of gun. So that's why we've got, you know, backup sights and like a bipod, but with vertical grips, because like you would never put a vertical grip typically on a weapon with a bipod because you're gonna do one or the other. But yeah, I'm not planning on that. But all right, so I think that pretty much covers it. Hope you all weren't too bored or pissed off with that whole show there. And I can't exactly promise I'm gonna make more content with any kind of degree of frequency. I feel like I say that every time, but that's just the way it is. I don't know if I'll be shooting at all this year. I would like to go shooting this year, but also cost of ammunition, getting someone to go with, you know, getting someone who can operate a camera with any degree of, you know, like skill or efficiency. Yeah, finding land to go shooting on where, like, I'm not gonna have, you know, the cops get called on me, or I'm not gonna have some range officer just like jumping down my throat because I like shot a little bit too fast or mag dumped or whatever. Yeah, circumstances for actually getting shooting video are not great, but I will definitely try. Maybe if I'm really lucky, I can, or not lucky, but maybe if I'm really desperate for footage, I'll just go to an indoor range and just suck it up. I hate indoor ranges, but it is what it is. That said, I've been, I don't know, musing about the concept of getting a new firearm, but it's really, really difficult to justify that, especially when I haven't shot in almost 3 years. I now have a weapon I built that ended up costing me upwards of, you know, I want to say like at least $1,200, but like probably closer to $2,000 or something like that by the end of everything. So yeah, it's hard to justify like getting new firearms, which means the content is pretty much gonna dry up at some point. I can only put so many upgrades on these things. And I don't want to do a new video just because I had one little thing, right? Like, you want to wait till you have a few different things. Some of you might think, like, oh, I didn't really like put a whole lot on this one since the last time I did a video, and that's probably true. But hopefully it was enough that it was somewhat interesting. To anyone who hasn't watched any of my previous videos, this was probably a terrible video because I was really hinging on the previous videos having been watched. So I guess you can go back and watch some of those. But anywho, yeah. So that's what I got. Take care. Be safe. Fight like hell.